Hi, I'm Charles, and you're watching The State of the Republic.
First off, I am reducing production of the more in-depth segments for the foreseeable future, thanks to the deluge of news that emerges each week. The pieces may appear again in the future, but not on a regular basis. Well, this week there was even more shit. The week started with Donald Trump's speech on Afghanistan. Trump refused to provide troop numbers or set a timetable for withdrawal, but sources suggest that the U.S. presence will be increased by several thousand troops. This troop deployment represents a victory for the Kelly-McMaster-Mattis faction, as they have been pushing for an increased troop commitment. McMaster apparently was able to squeeze the commitment for troops out of Trump by showing him an old photograph of Afghan women in miniskirts, to show that Western norms could return to the country. On the other hand, Bannon and Betsy DeVos's brother Eric Prince had previously been pushing for privatization of the Afghan war. Eric Prince is the head of the mercenary company Blackwater that was rebranded into Academi after the Nisour Square massacre in Iraq and other criminal activities. Their proposal involved making Prince a viceroy in the colonial India mold, with a private army and air force to fight the war. The Afghan war is now stretching into its 16th year with no end in sight. On Tuesday, Trump went to a rally in Phoenix, Arizona, where he spent most of his time, again, complaining and whining about anything and everything. Trump complained about the media using all of his words from his Charlottesville response, repeating his statement on the issue while conveniently forgetting the controversial parts. Trump further threatened a government shutdown over funding for his border wall idea, giving up entirely on the notion of Mexico footing the bill. Trump also failed to mention the then missing sailors from the USS John McCain. Trump, without mentioning them by name, complained about the state's two Republican senators, Jeff Flake and the White House is increasingly ratcheting up tensions with Capitol Hill. Trump and Republican Senate Majority Turtle Mitch McConnell apparently got into a shouting match over the phone, concerning McConnell's unwillingness to halt the Senate's Russia probe. McConnell has responded by sending surrogates out to attack Trump, including mentioning the possibility of impeachment. Trump also apparently called other Republican senators, including Tom Tillis of North Carolina and Bob Corker of Tennessee, to complain about their role in Russia-related matters. Trump further blasted Corker on Twitter this week. Trump also tweeted complaints about Congress not including the debt ceiling raise in a veterans bill. Congress is facing several looming deadlines, including the necessary vote to raise the debt ceiling. Republicans have proven themselves to be remarkably incapable of governing a country, and they are continuing to prove this with their inability to perform a basic governing function like raising the debt ceiling. Congressional Republicans are also likely to continue their efforts to give tax cuts to the rich. The White House has indicated that they will follow Congress's lead on so-called tax reform. Coward of the House, Paul Ryan had an almost town hall on CNN this week, where he was blasted by a Catholic nun for his anti-people policies. If you're tired of seeing Speaker Munster in Congress, support Democrat Randy Bryce in his campaign against Ryan. The ACA also got a significant boost this week, with a health insurer agreeing to cover the last Bexar County in the country. Breitbart has begun attacking the Trump White House now, with Steve Bannon attacking Trump and his staff in significant ways this week. Breitbart has accused Trump of betraying his campaign promises, and has ratcheted up attacks on the Republican congressional leadership and White House staff that they believe to be, globalist Democrats or some other nonsense. In related news, White House Chief of Staff John Kelly has been attempting to control the information flow to Trump, trying to prevent far-right nonsense and conspiracy theories from getting to his desk. In possibly related news, the past week also saw the resignation of White House advisor Andy Hemming, whose job it was to feed Trump a twice-daily folder of propaganda that praised him. There was also a report on the Department of Housing and Urban Development, with the agency doing remarkably little under the lack of leadership exhibited by the amazingly unqualified Ben Carson. The Trump administration is attempting to cut the size of several Obama-designated national monuments, and is continuing to attack clean air and water regulations at the EPA and the Interior Department. The Secret Service director also stated this week that the agency was running out of funds and overtime hours for personnel in order to protect Trump and his family. Trump has made a habit of vacationing at his own properties, where the Secret Service is forced to pay to protect him. Trump is also reportedly considering rescinding DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, an Obama program that protects Dreamers. In a further move to give the middle finger to Latinos, Trump pardoned racist former sheriff and convicted felon Joe Arpaio on Friday, hoping to hide it in the middle of Hurricane Harvey. Trump also previously tried to have the DOJ drop the case against Arpaio, so even more obstruction of justice from the Mafia administration. The White House also on Friday issued formal guidance on the implementation of Trump's transgender military ban. The guidelines prevent the induction of more transgender troops, but leave the decision to the Pentagon on those who are currently serving. The administration also approved the Amazon-Whole Foods merger, despite major concerns about antitrust and corporate consolidation from a variety of groups. The Labor Department also junked an Obama administration rule designed to encourage hiring in local public works projects. Trump has also shown a remarkable lack of leadership in the face of various disasters and tragedies this week. Trump responded to news about the collision between the USS John McCain and another vessel by saying, "That's too bad." Trump also failed in his preparations for Hurricane Harvey, as Texas and Louisiana were bracing for landfall. Trump tweeted out a useless propaganda video of himself in the run-up to the hurricane. He has since simply said, "Good luck" to those in the storm's path. I am sure the people of Texas and Louisiana are comforted by those words. In significantly better news, White House advisor Stephen Gorka was also fired. Gorka had a fake degree and was touted on Fox News as a counterterrorism advisor before joining the Trump White House. Gorka was also linked to a pro-Nazi Hungarian group, which he lied about on his immigration form and could be deported for. Gorka has since gone back to Breitbart. On the Russia scandal front, Christopher Steele, the British spy who assembled the so-called Golden Showers dossier, handed his sources to the FBI. The CEO of the company that produced the dossier, Fusion GPS CEO Glenn Simpson, testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee in a closed hearing on Monday. Subsequently, the Republican chairman of that committee, Chuck Grassley of Iowa, stated his support for making the testimony public. Verification of the various allegations in the dossier may soon be forthcoming. Last week, news broke that Trump advisor George Papadopoulos pushed the idea of meetings with Russian officials. This week, it was revealed that Trump campaign advisor Rick Dearborn was also apparently involved in pushing those ideas. Dearborn was chief of staff to then-Senator Jeff Sessions, so it seems unlikely that Sessions was unaware of this occurrence. CIA career officers are also keeping an eye on Trump's appointed director, Mike Pompeo, on suspicion that he could act to quash evidence or investigations into Trump. Special counsel Robert Mueller has subpoenaed 6 PR firms with links to either Paul Manafort or Michael Flynn. Manafort has since been forced to seek new legal counsel, his third set in the past month. Mueller is also seeking to link Flynn to deceased Republican operatives Peter Smith's attempts to collude with Russia on behalf of the Trump campaign. State-level news was much better this week. Missouri workers were able to gather enough signatures to suspend enforcement of and force a statewide vote on Missouri's new right to freeload law. Texas suffered several setbacks in their effort to disenfranchise minority voters, with federal judges ordering the state to redraw congressional district maps as being discriminatory to minorities, and throwing out the state's voter suppression law for similar reasons. Worst news out of Iowa, though. Iowa will be giving Apple $208 million in tax abatements to build a data center that will employ 50 people. That works out to over $4 million per job. I could also hire someone if I was given $4 million to do it. That concludes the week's news.
Thank you for watching the program. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting content.